Welcome back. This is Outnumbered. Hillary Clinton's longtime aide, Huma Abedin, taking a break from the campaign trail this weekend after the FBI announced it discovered emails possibly related to its investigation of Clinton's server on her estranged husband Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, in June, Abedin said under oath that she had searched all of her devices, and when she left the State Department, she signed a document saying she didn't have any classified information in her possession. That's the same scenario that landed former CIA Director David Petraeus in hot water. Now, meantime, it appears Donald Trump may have predicted something like this last summer.
So Huma is getting classified secrets. She's married to Anthony Weiner, who's a perv. So she's married to Anthony Weiner. Do you think there's even a 5% chance that she's not telling Anthony Weiner, now of a public relations firm, what the hell is coming across?
Right. Lord only knows what he's reading on that laptop. Told. And still no sign of Huma on the campaign trail today. Now, here's video from this morning of Clinton boarding her campaign plane, heading to Ohio. So, Judge, let's discuss this a little bit. So, you know, we bring up General Petraeus and the crime that he was charged with. How is this any different from, you know, the mathematical probability that Huma Abedin has classified information on that laptop?
Far worse than what General Petraeus was charged with and for which he pleaded guilty. General Petraeus' matters were all in loose leaves in his guarded and protected home. He was the director of the CIA. He shared them with another person, his biographer, with whom he apparently had a relationship, who herself had a national security clearance. That's the extent of the David Petraeus situation. Now we're talking about probably many, many national security secrets put into an insecure place called espionage. Same crime for which Hillary Clinton was investigated and mysteriously exonerated by the same Jim Comey.
Does that set a precedent for Huma Abedin, though?
I hope not. I hope that Jim Comey's announcement on July 5 was an aberration and not a precedent. That remains to be seen.
And one size fits all just for Hillary Clinton. So the potential for bribery with Anthony Weiner, given his past and present, and his proclivity for texting all sorts of
man of ill repute.
I mean, you talk about, if he were clairvoyant, Donald Trump, I don't know what it was, but you talk about a setup that was potent. I mean, potentially disastrous. With him having national security type information, if there's any classified or otherwise in there, it's not just that Huma Abedin was, you know, backing it up on their laptop. He had it, and anybody could have bribed him.
You know, I don't mean for this to sound weird, but it's going to sound weird. I hope that even a pervert can be patriotic. I hope that even Anthony Weiner,
that sounds bizarre.
Who was a member of Congress, who was the chief of staff for Chuck Schumer, who was a mainstay in Democratic politics in New York City.
This
I hope
he knows what not to do. This has to do with an outsider wanting to maybe bribe if they knew that there was information on there.
Here you have somebody who is doing something. I mean, Anthony Weiner allegedly sending pictures back and forth with an underage girl. He is in a position where he's totally vulnerable.
Right.
He could be extorted. I mean, you heard what Catherine Herod said at the beginning of the show. She's backing up her phone to a device that they share. He has access to all that. What Donald Trump said was just logical. Where he said she's sharing a home and devices and electronics with someone who is out of control, who is terrible with technology, who takes all kinds of
That's why the standard of proof in these espionage cases is not intent, it's gross negligence.
There you go.
Could the national security have been harmed by Huma's gross negligence by sharing it with her husband? Could it have been harmed by Hillary's gross negligence by sharing it with Sid Blumenthal?
So while we wait for any more evidence, based on what we actually know today, should Huma Abedin actually still be on a presidential campaign? Should she still be there, and will she go?
No, she should be in her lawyer's office, and the lawyer should be negotiating with the Justice Department as we speak.
And
just as Hillary's lawyers negotiated with the Justice Department to keep her from getting indicted.
And that may be the case, because as we've been saying, I mean, it's being termed as laying low, but we don't know. Maybe she's having...
I'll throw a wild one out there. Anthony is cooperating with the Justice Department against his wife. How about Huma cooperating with the Justice Department against her present and maybe soon-to-be former boss?
Wow.
Well, you know, when people
that's interesting.
When people go down and they get desperate, what do? They pull other people with them. And, you know, it's obvious to see that Anthony Weiner would do that, certainly with his wife, who had chosen a career over a marriage, in his estimation, one could guess. But also, you're absolutely right. Why wouldn't she do the exact same thing to Hillary Clinton if she's the one who's supposed to take the fall in all of it?
Can we do a story so I can laugh?
Oh,
Something that's lighter,
Laugh at any
humorous?
time. It just might be awkward.